Man, what's up, world? It's your boy, the Toothless Wonder. The regular introduction, reporting live from the Bamboozled Again News Network. And I guess as, I continue to do this, you improve, evolve, become more efficient. So eventually I'll probably, try to like take notes. But really what be happening is I just be having these epiphanies. And then before I lose it or whatever, then I just jump on here live as I'm, running little errands and whatnot. But in light of, the recent debacle within the so say brothers in truth community, I'm noticing a common trait, not just there, but then when I reflect over life, various places I've been, people I've, rubbed shoulders with, I'm noticing what I like to call the Jigga Man spirit. Sean Carter, H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy. Now, mind you, I guess we all should know, at least in the general sense, his backstory of hustling in New York, going out of town. It may not be as widely known that he had a lot of history in the game, as they call it, on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, where I reside. And I knew this like during school, like, middle school, high school. Granted, I was in the country, so I wasn't really privy to what was going on in town or in various towns. Unless it was school, church, or sport related, the kid wasn't a part of it. Actually, looking back on it, was a divine blessing. That I didn't get wrapped up in certain things that were going on in the streets, and how, as I like to call him, Mr. Gilmore started throwing niggas away and giving them 20 years for $20 worth of crack to clean up his town. Or, the drug game then kind of, or drugs being a dirty business in which, typically segments of people or society that don't intermingle are now intermingling. Like, I came along in the age where it was kind of like a unwritten competition to see who could get the most pristine snow bunnies because they're all partying together, on the weekend at, the dad's house who's on vacation in Europe somewhere, you know what I'm saying? And during this time, Jay-Z, and I grew up in a town called Easton, his
There's a speed trap ahead.
his claim to fame was more, in the next town to the south, which I like to call the Negro capital of, the Eastern Shore, Cambridge. A lot of legendary people,
2 miles, take the US 13 north exit toward Dover.
Not just, turn that off. Not just, in relation to like the streets, but civil rights, slavery, things of that nature. So during this time period, let's say late 90s, like he was real influential. Like everybody wanted to get the Axe, the Acuras. Lexuses were, like if you had the LS Lexus, the 400 jump, like he was hitting on something back then. I think he, helped kind of bring more of a up top flavor to the shore. The Pellys and the Avorexes, the Tim boots, you know what I'm saying? The kind of maybe more of like a New York look, especially in the winter. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. He was very influential, not just him, but I guess the guys he ran with and were linked with. And as I've heard, money was plentiful, so on and so forth. But I'm identifying this Jigga Man spirit in people, especially in the town Easton where I grew up at. And again, this is brought to light because of, and maybe just the as I like to call it, the plantation construct of society, where they create this environment, even on your workplace, where we have to work together, but yet there's an underlying competition for a status on the plantation. You know what I mean? Whether it be a supervisory role, where you assume all this all this responsibility and the title for a small increase. And then, you know what I mean? But the people at the top, they're just managing the control. They don't really do no whole bunch of nothing. You know what I mean? Oh, there I go. And especially, like, I kind of, and then being from outside of town, but then, going to school in town and playing sports with guys and so on and so forth, who were very talented. We weren't as, I would say we weren't as, for our talent level, we weren't as, let's say, unified as, let's say, a town like Cambridge. You know what I'm saying? The Jay-Z spirit typically one of the telltale traits is it assumes this thing of brotherhood, or we're all in it together, to then reap the benefits of being in a group while having your own personal agenda. Now, anything you delve into, it should be mutually beneficial. However, my thing is the intent and underlying motive for joining said group. And here's one of the telltale traits, is how, if you notice, nobody that Jay-Z has ever ran with, either one or two things happen. He either X'd them out the game, or they're permanently underneath him or subject to his control. You see what I'm saying? There's actually also, and I think that is spurred by an underlying jealousy or deficiency within the said person. You know what I mean? They actually almost, the way they treat them, they almost despise them for whatever the reason. And I'm just noticing this when I think back over life and in recent events, of how many people have a Jigga Man type of spirit. And I said this before I had this epiphany. Like, I'll point out, like I've been pointing out, like how he's a horrible human being. And normally the rebuttal is his social status and his finance. Meanwhile, everybody he's ever dealt with got X'd out the game, or they fell out. And yeah, people fall out. But to the propensity of which he's involved with, like, God darn, cuz, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just all about him. You know what I mean? And there's a lack of, like, empathy or remorse for things that have come to light that we know now to be true. You know what I'm saying? And if you ask him about it, he's very, like, dismissive of it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, or, like, that's not important, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed that within a lot of guys that I grew up with. It was more individual achievement in the group dynamic more so than the mission that the squad is on. We had enough talent-wise basketball, we could have won multiple state championships. But everybody had their own individual goals, you know what I'm saying? And you can reach individual goals in a group setting. So that was kind of mystifying to me at the time, even though I couldn't really quantify it. And I was this type of guy, like, I just get in where I fit in, and I'll have my turn when I get it. You know what I mean? But I've noticed how prevalent that situation is in society, especially when I look at a lot of group dynamics on the workplace or whatever. I'm like, yo, these people don't really care about each other the way they say they do. You know what I'm saying? Let something happen, you'll see. And typically it don't take much for, I mean, people disagree and have falling outs, or, you know, conflicts or whatever the case may be. It's how you resolve it, or effectively, you know, like, let's say, and I've had issues with homies and stuff like that. But we resolved it because I got love for them. And the friendship or the things we've been through that built the brotherhood, like, I wouldn't trade that in. And I definitely ain't going through the lengths of doing some old Willie Lump type stuff in order to, you know, propel myself. And if I gotta do that, then it ain't meant for me. Like, if we look at like, nobody has ever questioned me. And I guess people do perceive who you are, even though they might not articulate that to you. So during my whole, like, I've had a various amount of personal issues, but none of my homies or anybody that I hung around, even casually, has ever even had the thought that I would sleep with their woman if had the chance. You know what I'm saying? I noticed this as well. Just like people get into stuff and then, like, kind of distance themselves from other people when it get hot. Like, I used to trip out, especially when I got out of school, and I might not see the homies for me, and I might just stop around, and they know what they finna do. You know what I'm saying? They know if we get all tuned in and, you know, kick up a little dust. Now, mind you, I ain't been around a minute. So we might kick it, you know, with his peoples or his girl for a second. Like, you know, cuz, let's roll out. You know, we're going to roll out eventually. And then they be like, well, where y'all going? And then they'll stop and say, oh, you going with Cat? Oh, never mind. Okay. Like, older folks, people's girls, and they do this consistent. They'll do it now if I just pop up. Even though I ain't really on that type of time now. I used to wonder why they don't, you know what I'm saying? Not for me to take note of. And here's why. They feel very confident. I don't know what y'all finna do, but I am confident that whatever y'all do at the end of it, Calvin gonna bring you back to us. I was up, and nobody taught me the G code. I just somehow inherently understood it, or it was already ingrained in me without anybody having to tell me. Like, almost naturally. Like, you know, you got a car and you got certain factory settings that just come with the car. It's not like luxury or any kind of special edition. I used to say, or here's one. Let's say we out and about, you know, wherever we at, and something kick off. Either one or two things gonna happen. We're either going to the hospital together or we leave together. ain't no I run off or I got, you know what I'm saying? My brain don't think like that. Because again, I care about the particular friendship. I've gotten to know you. So, like, all that other stuff is irrelevant to me. You know what I'm saying? And here's also another one. If we doing something we ain't got no business, and I get caught and you don't, and nobody taught me about not snitching. I mean, yeah, I guess when you little, stop telling on people or something, but first of all, I already know we ain't got no business doing it. So I got, if this go wrong, I already know it's time to lay down or face the consequence. I ain't had no business doing it. I hope I get away with it. But if not, oh well, I already know. So it's not like I'm wild about, you know what I'm saying? And then if I feel like I can't handle the consequence, I just don't do it. That's why I used to bring up all these like little charges, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I can handle it, you know what I'm saying? Or argue my way out of it, even though I done did it. But if I get caught and you don't, like, I done forgot who you is. Like, I'm not going to take you away or try to minimize for some stuff I know I ain't got no business and throw you under the bus. And we done had these experiences together, these laughs, the hard time, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I despise them type people, yo. And that's why, and everybody knows, like, I despise Jigga Man. They're like, oh, and the first thing they say, oh, you hate. No, I don't hate on the man because he got all this money. I hate on the man because he's a horrible human being. That's why. You know what I'm saying? If you would strip him away of you know, outward success, finance, and all that, like, motherfucker be slapping him and treating him bad. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that the Jigga Man spirit has to hang on to. That's why they'll go through any lengths to hold on to it or to propel themselves, because they're inwardly devoid. It's not like people saying, oh, he's such a great guy, or oh, I was in the press and he showed up, or I remember he did this out the kindness of his heart. And if they do something, there's a motive and agenda behind it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just noticing this Jigga Man spirit all over the place, so much so that when people present themselves to me like offering help or overly complimenting, my spidey sense automatically start tingling. Because I'm thinking, you got to move, you got an agenda, you got an angle. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of the few people that don't. You know what I'm saying? If I do something, I just do it. And it's not like I'm keeping track. So I can throw it in your face later on, like, oh, I did this for you in order for you to hope to do whatever it is I want you to do. You do it or don't. I just might get more wild and be like, well, I just ain't going to make sure I don't do that with that man no more. You know what I'm saying? Since you can't reciprocate the action. You know what I'm saying? But, man, these Jigga Man spirits is all over here. Or here's the Jigga Man spirit. They're idol worshipers. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh, cuz sits at this position in this particular company. And, okay, with the position that he holds, how is the company functioning, or how are the people underneath of him, are they flourishing? That's how I view leadership. But here we got this misconstrued version of leadership in the sense of, I'm the leader, you do what I say, not as I do, you know what I'm saying? And I use my power to fulfill my own personal desires, ego, so on and so forth. Real leadership is actually servanthood. Real leadership is leading and making sure folks straight and calling the right plays in totality. Like, you know, back in the day, like during gladiator times, the general was leading the charge. He wasn't holed up, you know what I'm saying, calling plays from a safe place. He was in the front, clutching, you know what I'm saying? These folk, the Jigga Man spirit don't fight his own battles. That's another thing I know. These people, the Jigga Man spirit don't fight his own battles. But because of how he got it set up, he works it in a way where he'll start some shit, and then anybody underneath him will attempt to take up the cause in hopes of getting in his good graces, which typically they never get there. They just a fall guy, or they just a, you know, collateral damage, or, you know, someone that can be disposed of, and then someone else will take the position in hopes of getting in his good graces. But none of these people are actually uplifted or set up in and of themselves. Like, I don't know what Memphis Bleek got going on, and I fucks with Bleek, you know what I'm saying? But how high can Bleek go? Like, has anybody actually come, like, even when Kanye did it in his own right, then they fell out. You know what I'm saying? Any competition, which I guess, you know, I guess is how you go about it. They go through all these flunky ass means of eliminating the competition instead of just going head up with them. Since you there, you know what I'm saying? Man, idol worship, hell of a drug, man. And even now that he's on the deck of, getting the P. Diddy action, it's just like we'll still like overlook it though, because of the idea of the image of the idol. And I be thinking that people who like defend these people, once the evidence come out, you defend them because deep down you want to be in a position to do what he do. You know what I'm saying? That's like me defending a snitch or someone or like, I've like mystical music, right? But I can't defend the man as a person, and he keep taking box. You know what I'm saying? What? I want to take some box too, so I go to bat for it? No, man, this shit crazy, dude. The Jigga Man spur a hell of a drug, bro. You know what I'm saying? The outward dawning of success or ego, pride, you know what I'm saying? Preeminence. But if you peer behind the veil and see how he treat people and how he conduct business, like how you start something groundbreaking with Dame and then X him out the game and then get with the white folk. I could even see, hey, cuz, talking to Dame, hey, cuz, man, they ready, woo the whoop, right? They trying to pull this move, man, and they want me X you out, cuz. I'm letting you know. But here's what we can do, though, off the record. We can play it like we beefing and this, that, and the third. I'm going to get the money from these white folks. I'm going to funnel the money through you, and you do what we continue to do. But to these white folks, it look like we at odds, and we can finesse them that way. Shh. You know what I'm saying? Nah. I guess the white folk got too much power. They found out, then they'll knock him. And ain't nobody trying to get knocked down. So now I'm going to have to go and X you out, homeboys. Fun while it lasted, cuz I'm going to holler at you. You know what I'm saying? Did the man Greaves? That was nasty work, though. That was nasty work what he did in Brooklyn. And then here's another one. Because he knows he kind of has the whatever of the people because of finance and status and all that. Then they'll send the Jigga Man type spirit in to bamboozle the people, and he get a small little piece of chump change while the people worship him because now he with these upper echelon white folk, and niggas suffer again, same way he did in Brooklyn. They were like, oh, Jay-Z's the owner of the Nets. Man, that man owned like less than a percentage of 1%. Just to bamboozle when he came to Brooklyn so they could build the Nets thing there. But he had to re-gentrify the whole joint. So, older people own what they call them brownstones. They got put out. I saw a documentary on this. Like, they ended up putting them out because they had like a crack in front of like the asphalt they sidewalk. And that was enough to get them put out. They want them, but he was the best Negro to sell that. And then after it was over with, he no longer the Nets. See what I'm saying? They just end up doing to him what he done did to everybody else. I guess that's karma. Just like they ready to throw Puffy where he do all this dirt. Now you no longer suffice, or we need a sacrificial lamb. You know what I'm saying? To distract people from us ready to collapse the economy and send us all into World War III and cannibalism and shit. So now we about to throw you, cuz. It was fun while it lasted, man. You did a good job, bro. Next nigga on deck. You know what I mean? We just never learn. I guess everybody want, well, not me, but 15 minutes of fame. I know that shit run out. Then you can't look at yourself in the mirror and, you know what I'm saying? Like my man Scarface, got me looking in the mirror vaguely, but I can't see shit fade me. God darn, cuz. But like the Kanye saying, it all comes down. I'm telling you all, it all falls down. Man, let me pick this order up, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all, yo. Ooh,